Welcome to Backstabbers, the only podcast where we're not just sticking needles in your back, we're talking behind it too. All right, welcome back to Backstabbers. We got, let's see here, what order are we going to go in? Let's go tallest to shortest. We'll go Alex, Sarah, Lacey are your hosts.
Okay. All right. I see what you did there. I like to point at your age. Your maturity.
It was also youngest to oldest. That order works for a lot of things.
It does. But you always end up on the end. Shortest and oldest.
Yeah, this is true. You're not wrong.
Good except for pictures. I hate being on the end for a picture. Like, you always look, I don't know.
I agree. I like being in middle and arms out. That's a good
pose.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be honest, there's not really a good pose for me. Maybe in the back. Where there's taller people in front of me.
Because you're not 5'8", so you're not
going to do the
but
teeny
if I
bopper.
tell people I am, then I might be.
That's funny.
Y'all, I'm gonna start off with something real quick. I'm irritated.
Oh.
So I just want to say, this is why people in healthcare, like our general population, it's so hard to get taken care of in America. Yeah. So I don't even want to know, like other countries, you cannot convince me that it's that much worse because so I have blood pressure issues. Okay. We're going to lay that out there. I had been off my medicine. It bit me this last week. It was extremely high. I tried to take the medicine that I had, expired by 2 years. So it wasn't working to its full extent. So I was trying to double up, still wasn't working. So I just messaged my primary care and I was like, hey, these are my blood pressures. I was on this before. Can you just write me another script? Because I have my yearly visit in April.
Which was borderline hypertensive crisis, for the record.
Yeah, I mean,
yeah, it was.
Okay. Details. Anyway. So they say, ooh, we're uncomfortable with those pressures. You have to be seen. And I'm like, I've been on the other one. Just give it to me until April and we'll talk about it. So no, I have to make an appointment. Well, then I go to make an appointment. There are no appointments. And so then
until
I have to
April.
Call.
Yeah.
And then there was only one appointment and then I had to cancel some stuff so I could get to that one appointment. And they put me on something, yada, yada, yada. I go to pick it up yesterday. They only sent one of them. I call the office. They say, oh, we'll get it. Call in. Still none today. And I just want to take some freaking medicines on my blood pressure. And it's so frustrating. And I know this is the way everybody feels. I'm like, and then I need to make another appointment because my boobs are dense and I need to redo that one. I need to do my eyes. And I need to do all these other things that I ain't got time for.
Yeah.
And think about people who have to coordinate rides to get their meds or, it's just it's so flawed. It's such a
I'm just feeling more empathetic towards our patients that don't do what they're supposed to because so hard to do what you're supposed to.
Yeah. It's easy to not do it.
Yeah. Yes. My husband was saying he took care of two people and they were both sick. They both had to come in. They said, we didn't want to come in today. We were just going to ride this out. But if we don't have a note, they have this system where if you get dinged 5 times, you're fired. It doesn't matter if you have a work note, anything, you get dinged. And so then you're fired because they're easily replaceable. And I'm like, everything in America, we make it so hard. That's why the ERs are overrun because people are coming in for a note because they can't get into their doctor for a week, but they got to go back to work or they'll get fired. Yeah. I mean, I'm like, it's exhausting. So people are just like, you know what? I'm just going to let my blood sugar, my blood pressure, whatever happens, happens.
Yeah. I don't know when it changed in society, but when did we start? You have the flu and you're still expected to come to work because as a business owner, all you're doing is ensuring all of your employees get sick.
Everybody.
Yes, because we just had the whole flu outbreak in our whole thing because 2 people came to work with it and then everybody had it. And then we passed it to all of our families.
Which healthcare is maybe a little different because you're exposed on the regular to sick patients. But even so, there's no reason you should have to be like you're on death's door and having 102, 103 fever and schlepping it into work and exposing everyone else.
Right.
I don't know when that changed, but let's vote on that again as a society.
Yes. Can we vote on that?
Can we put that on an election?
It's unanimous over here, okay? And I don't know if y'all have realized it, that we're like the smartest, so we should probably go off of what we say.
Clearly, we know what we're talking about.
Yeah, Lacey's super
aged. Into our
Lacey's very wise.
Lacey is very wise. And this is going to be a segment a lot about me. And I apologize, ladies, but ultrasound blocks give me great joy. I love them. Probably one of the reasons why is, Alex, you're probably too young to remember this. Sarah, you should remember this. But do y'all remember the 90s pictures that were the 3D pictures that looked like abstract art? And if you stared at it just right, like a shark jumped out at you or whatever.
Yes.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yes.
Alex, do you know what I'm talking
about? Yes, I do.
Okay. My mother was obsessed with these pictures. We had them, I think, in every room of our house. Every room had one 3D abstract
I want to know what they were of.
art. I don't remember. I was trying to see if she still had some at her house, and I was going to take some pictures and put them up.
Really funny.
But they didn't make it to the new house.
Motif.
Well, on social media, it's like you have this childhood trauma if you see this, but if you see that, then
I see all the things because my eyes were trained to see them.
To look at all that.
Lacey's like a 3D ninja.
So I think that's one reason I love Block so much is I do feel like you have to kind of set your mind that you're going to see something, which is what you had to do with those 3D pictures, right? You had to say that you were going to see something. And if you didn't see something and someone told you what to look for, night and day. I can remember she had one in their bedroom that I struggled with. And I think it was a city that popped out at you, like some architectural formations. And I struggled with that one. But once I knew what I was supposed to see, because someone kind of told me and showed me the outline, then I could see it every time, which I think is true then for ultrasounded guided blocks. I think that's one of the reasons I love them. So Alex scanned herself yesterday at work. Sarah has not seen this. Alex has seen, I think, all of them.
I think this is my favorite.
It makes me very happy.
Part of the episode to date. So.
Yes. And ironically, some of the people I work with at a different facility do ultrasounds, but don't do a ton. And because it's rural, if they haven't been to a course, it's just, kind of what they've learned from other people and hands-on looking at apps and that sort of stuff. So one of them mentioned they would love to see our interpretations of some blocks, because what you see in the books is not always, you're never going to see that in real life. Usually those are like the best of the best. And sometimes their descriptions, I think, don't fit with what I like. And so that's what we're going to do. We're going to talk about, I think I've got five of our most common blocks. And we're going to show you a picture. And then I'm going to kind of highlight some stuff and show you what it reminds me of. Okay. Are you ready for this? It's going to be great.
Yes.
Okay. So we're going to start with supraclavicular.
Okay.
How do we want to separate this out? Do we want to do
you start and then just each of us do a different.
Okay. So we're going to start with supraclavicular. This is, we're going to start, hence clavicle. We're going to start right on your clavicle and scan right there. We're looking for your brachial plexus. This is usually, you've got different parts of the brachial plexus. This is going to be like the trunks or divisions, depending on exactly where you're hitting. The anatomy we're going to look for is going to be your subclavian artery, your middle scalene. That's going to be one of those muscles in there. You also often see like your first rib. You can see some lung fields. It's one, especially on the right side, you watch for lung fields because it's one of the highest complications is we could accidentally nick that little lung right there. So that's why it's always important to not just go by anatomy or stem. Watch that needle with the ultrasound the whole time. Know where it is. Okay. So for this one, let's find my little pictures and I'll put these on like a nice way. Okay. So I'm going to put this up so Sarah can see them and we can get her live reactions. Okay. So here is Alex's little image. So you can see like there's her little artery right there. There's her little bundle. Okay. All right.
Gorgeous.
Here is, I'm going to highlight. Okay. See that right there? That's going to be her brachial plexus. Okay. Got it. And here's what I think of. I think the book calls it grapes. I see chocolate chip cookie. Now, are you ready for now that you've seen it? Do you see that cookie? Doesn't she have a beautiful chocolate chip cookie right there in her neck?
Girl, that is a sexy cookie.
Beautiful cookie. I did a block at this other place and I said something about having a pretty cookie and they were like, do what?
Yeah.
Oh. Yeah, I don't use book terms. I don't see grapes. I see chocolate chip cookies.
Agreed.
Hey, Lacey, you want to be careful because I know some old ladies that call their hoo-ha their cookie. So,
well, I think that's probably why I got the reaction I got when I said that was a pretty cookie.
But it's upper.
I'm pretty sure my grandmother's vagina was
a cookie.
Was a cookie.
Oh, that's so this funny. Is a block that we do for like mid-arm things. So think like elbow-ish area is going to be its sweet spot. You'll get a little bit above and below that, but that's going to be that sweet spot is kind of mid-arm. Okay. Next up, any questions, comments, concerns, anything? Anybody?
I think that.
Nope.
That
all right. Beautiful.
So next up will be interscaling. Who wants to go for that one?
I can. That's also your brachial plexus, and that's more of like the root area. The landmarks are very similar. We're actually looking at that same exact thing. We're just scanning up a little bit higher. The big muscle going across is the sternocleidomastoid. And then we're looking in between the scalenes there. So you've got your middle scalene and the anterior scalene. And this is the one. Well, you can show the pictures and then.
Okay. All right. So this is, can you see it there? Yep. Okay. So that's going to be Alex's. Actually, that might have been the other person you scanned. I'm not sure whose that was. Okay. Hold on,
mine were tiny. It's probably the other person's because my little nerves were.
Okay. So here's where I highlighted. So that middle section is going to be her plexus. And then the two on either side in pink are going to be her muscles, which
we
in
typically
my mind,
see 3 little nerves, C5, 6, and 7. A butterfly.
So I call this one a butterfly because that's what I see. And now then we'll go back to her butterfly picture there. And now don't you see it now that I tell you it's a butterfly?
Yeah, with the little.
Don't you see her little butterfly? It's so pretty.
Which just all right. That could also be referred to as a hoo-ha.
A hoo-ha.
Your butterfly.
Your butterfly? Oh, you make all things dirty. You dirty pup.
Everything goes back there, you know.
All right, Sarah, you're next
up. Femoral's up next, which I actually particularly enjoy. It's just always really pretty. Even if they're big, I feel like you can find this pretty easy. We're going to do, you're looking for the femoral nerve, of course. And then, so you look for the artery and the vein. And then you'll have the iliacus muscle. And you'll have the nerve real bright and beautiful all right there. And you just fill up that little area.
All right, so yeah,
go ahead.
Okay, here's gonna be Alex's. Okay, so there it is, and then here's gonna be where I kind of drew on it what we're looking at. Sarah, do you want to guess what I see in this picture? Have you been with me when I say what?
You've been with her too much.
It is in fact a bird's beak.
I've been with her too much. And I did not say, I'm sorry. Some places do these for total knees. Some do it for ACLs. Do y'all at your other facility do them for knees, Lacey?
No,
I've never seen
for ACLs.
Yeah, I've never seen them be done for knees. But one of our ortho docs came in and said that there was a new study coming out about doing them for ACLs and that it caused prolonged weakness when they're trying to recover them. So they asked us not to do them.
Especially if they're athletes. That's right.
especially young athletes.
Mm-hmm. We used to do them a lot for the ACLs, and probably within the last 5-ish years, we've all kind of moved to more adductors for the ACLs because of that quad weakness.
And that's what we did the other day for it. Yeah,
getting them up and going. Yeah, I think that's kind of the newer standard for those.
But before, it works great for the surgery.
it sure does.
We don't really care about that part.
That was also, so, I had my ACL done 20 years ago and I didn't leave the hospital for 2 days. It was like I had a C-section and a baby. Like it was, you weren't going anywhere and you weren't doing anything. They put your leg in some torture contraption and that was about all you did. So it didn't matter if your quad was weak. Now they're outpatient and it's just a completely different game, you know.
They start rehabbing you immediately.
Yeah, no rest, that's for sure. So I think that's probably, as we've seen that practice change, we've adjusted blocks to go with it. But all right, along that same line, so like we talked about now we're going to do adductor,
Adductor.
which we do that a lot. Uh-huh.
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, no, I was going to say we do that a lot for our total knees and ACLs. Those are probably the two most common things that we do it for. Every once in a while, you'll have someone do it for like a BKA or something of that nature, but usually those total knees are ACLs. So the nerve we're looking for is your saphenous. And then our landmarks are going to be your sartorius muscle, your femoral artery, your femoral vein. You'll also see like the adductor longus muscle, hence the name, and that vastus medialis. So this one, let me find Alex's little adductor right there. I think the book calls this like a whole shape of a boat. And you can see how
that's what I see.
See how her arteries already kind of split? You're probably a hair too low in the real world. Just FYI. But I know it's hard to take pictures and scan and do. Okay, so here's my drawing. Sarah, can you guess what I'm going to say I saw?
I do. I do not see it, but a shark.
That is what I see.
I do not see. I feel like that is a stretch. I see a upside down, or I see a boat.
A boat.
But so that's also what I was trained to see.
I started with a boat, and then I tried to make like the nerve was the anchor, and I was like, that's just not what I see. That's a lie. That's not what I see. I see a shark.
Yeah. I appreciate it though.
No, you know,
your picture.
it makes me happy, and that's what
that's
I'm
really all that matters.
That's right.
Well, speaking of making you happy, I don't want this is your favorite one. The popliteal is your favorite. You got to take that one too, because I hate this one with a passion.
Hate it?
I like popliteals as well.
I love
not as much as lacy.
Popliteal is probably my favorite because it's so big and bright and beautiful, and you get the little money shot, which I realize I also should not say, but I just do, and it comes out. I'm not known for being PC over here.
Politically correct. Yes.
No, not at all. Okay, so for this one, it's going to be your tibial and your common peroneal nerves. You're looking for that popliteal artery, popliteal vein, and then you're going to see other muscles, your bicep femoris, your semitendinosus. We're going to be real honest. I don't look for those things. I'm going to show you what I do look for. All right. So this is right here. Oh, that was Alex. I don't know how you did this and holding it straight, but that was it. Okay.
I'll show
now
you.
I'm going to show you.
Here like
highlight
my leg up. There she is. Probe right under. I wish I would have gotten video.
These two are kissing.
They're
See
just
them kissing? Kissy birds.
Some
people like to be where they all come together as one big whole. I like them where you can still kind of see them kissing, and so that when you give your local, you can see them kind of separate and get fully enveloped. Both
They're just
of them.
Floating. Makes me floating in a pool of love.
Yes, kiss. And we do this one a lot.
Sexy block,
right? Sexy. I always am like, oh, that's the money shot right there, and get some looks, but it is what it is. So we're going to do this one for like ankle surgeries, occasionally some foot stuff. It's going to be that sort of stuff that we're doing the popliteal for. All right. That's all I got. That went way quicker than I thought it would.
It did go much faster, but I was laughing because I needed to send video footage of me scanning myself because first of all, I was in XXX scrubs, so I could like bring my pant leg up to do the adductor and the eye pack, but then I had to shut and lock the door so I could do my femoral. I didn't want anybody
everybody back up.
Yeah, I sent her a message and I was like, depending on how brave you're feeling, femoral would be nice too if you're feeling
get them britches down.
I would have
done it. I don't have any limitations.
Sacrifice.
So question, have you ever scanned for your ankle blocks? Because to me, that's just a field block.
It's a field block.
I have scanned for them because I was
requested to
scan.
Yes.
Yes.
No,
but
that's what I
typically know.
We work with one person that insists on doing the ultrasound, but I've never, even in school, I never did it except as a field block.
Here's the thing. You're doing a field ankle block or scanning, whatever. You're doing it 99% of the time because you're cutting someone's dead toe off that has minimal feeling at best, if any feeling. Okay. So you don't need a high quality block. And we are able to do a very good job with just a field block. And here's the thing, that we love ultrasounds. So we will readily use an ultrasound when it's warranted.
Right.
I just think that one's a little bit overkill,
Well,
in my opinion.
even if you're really big, most of the time your ankles are small enough to where you can still, and we use 30 cc's of,
We use a lot of local.
so there's a lot of local there. So it is floating
Yeah.
everything that's in your ankle, and we're aspirating so we don't get into a
Any
vessel. And
vessels.
Yeah.
so I don't see the benefit to it personally, but
Because
I guess if you have success in doing it that way, it's quicker for everybody involved, in my opinion.
I agree. And again, it's usually being done on someone that does not have a lot of sensation at baseline
Mm-hmm.
at the surgical site.
Mm-hmm.
And listen,
You
I'm
could
going to
probably
put
get
you
away
on
with
a
just a
different
little
planet.
sedation.
I'm going to put you on a different planet.
That's the thing.
Regardless, you can still be talking to me, but you're going to be on a different planet. You're going to be having a good time.
And if it was like a traumatic something, and that's why we're cutting a toe off, it was not because you're diabetic with neuropathy and your toe is dying. If it is like something stepped on you or got ran over or whatever, and that's why we're doing it, we're going to put you and do a general LMA
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
or
There's a
general of
reason
some
we're
sort.
just doing it. Yeah, like that.
That's not the same. We can still block you and help with some pain afterwards, 100%. But that's not going to be your primary anesthetic. We're going to put you to sleep.
Want to hit on last since we're talking
Yeah.
about
Oh, that'd be a good one.
That's
Go for
not
it.
real,
It's not real.
per one of our orthopedic surgeons.
Oh, okay.
It is
says
real.
it
I
to
have seen
me
it.
at least once a day when I work with him. That last is not a real thing. It is made up because after we do our blocks, he wants to inject 30 cc's more of local on somebody that weighs 50 kilos. And I'm always like, no, you may not. And he's like, last is not a real thing.
Okay. Well,
Most
clearly
of
it
the
hasn't happened to
time,
him, or he hasn't dealt with it.
That's
yeah.
it.
Most of the time, our patients are large enough that they can handle what we give them plus some more. And there's been some time lapsed in between. But you do have to be cognizant, even of like, say we block somebody, and then say you're one of those that likes lidocaine with your induction and you've given 5 cc's of 2%, and then say you like an LTA and you've given 4 cc's of lidocaine as you're intubating, right? So I think sometimes we get real close to the line without even thinking about those other things. We're just thinking about the block and what they're giving. Meanwhile, we've given a lot IV and via trachea that are rapidly absorbed.
Yeah. And it's a slippery slope because as we're putting them to sleep, they can't tell us some of those signs and symptoms that they look for with that, which could be, like the dizziness, lightheaded, numbness or tingling around your mouth, the ringing in your ears, the just feeling a generalized off, different from what, and the onset can be anywhere from 30 seconds to an hour after you give all the local. So that's
So when I was a student, I went to a site that did a whole bunch of blocks. Myself and one of my best friends, we were there at the same time, and they had 2 facilities. And so she would be at one doing blocks, and I was at the other doing blocks. And I mean, you'd do 15 to 20 blocks and be done by noon. It was a great regional rotation. But she was a mighty little thing and sometimes didn't know her own strength and was doing an adductor. And if you're not competent and you're still learning, it's real easy when you've got the probe to press down with all your force, which actually just makes it harder because it makes your transducer slide around. It's much better to kind of anchor yourself here and lightly grasp. But we all tend to get, especially as we're learning, get excited and you want to just like death grip and push down as hard as you can. And so she was doing an adductor and in hindsight had probably compressed a vessel and didn't see it. And so when they did the adductor, she had a trained person with her and they aspirated and got nothing. But the thought was they were probably pushing so hard and did a quick hard pull aspirate, which is not always as good as like a slow, gentle. And I mean, depending on who it is, they're not always good at checking at the hub to make sure you're really not getting anything. Anyway, long story short, they gave, and I want to say they did 3/4%, not 0.5% for their blocks. I think they did 3/4% and like 20 cc's. So they backed down the volume, but they gave the 20 cc's for an adductor. And literally as soon as the needle was out of their legs, they got twitchy. And I don't remember, because I think they had like some cardiac arrhythmias. They had given some Versed. They ran and got the lipids, started the lipids, the whole thing. Patient made a full recovery and was fine. But I'll never forget the ortho wanted to continue with the surgery. And anesthesia had to fight with them. And they were like, yeah, today's not the day. Today is not the day. We're going to do it later.
They've rolled the dice and today is not happening.
Yeah. I do think they did them like the next day. Like it was super quick when they did them.
Well, I mean, once it's done, right? They got to get their knee done. I was pulling up an app that I like to check. It's called Safe Local.
I use that one all the time.
For max doses, is that what?
Yeah, you can put in what all you've given and then tell the surgeon what they're allowed to give.
This is what it looks like there. So then I pull it up and I show the surgeon that tells me last isn't a thing. And I'm like, this is all you can give.
Yeah.
So that way I have it on my phone.
I love to be able to, calculate. Well, because especially in a panic too, like the lipids, it's like, okay,
I can't
is
math
it
that
this
quick.
or this or this,
Same.
you know? And so you just plug it all in and it's perfect.
It does it for you. Yeah. I don't trust, I'm really good at math with pen and a paper, but I don't trust fast math in a crisis situation.
No. And they're like, are you ready? Are you ready? Yes, 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 yes.
Well, especially with the lipids, it's in between. It's a 1.5 mils per kg, right? Over that first minute. And so for one to one is easy. 2, double it, sure. But then to like half it in between, you know, and then add it back. And anyways, so yeah, I like all the resources we have, but obviously, you know, in a quick pinch, gotta think fast.
Yeah.
The more resources, the better. I love the apps.
I do too. I love the apps.
What's your go-to?
Oh, go ahead.
Like
anesthesia app?
Stuff. I use Vargo.
I use Vargo the most, I would say.
Agreed.
It's worth the money that I spend on it when I renew it. I really like it. Because I like what I have come to do is, you know, your phone will shut down after a minute. When I'm doing peds, if I'm doing a lot of peds, I'll pull it up and I set it there and I do it not only for myself, but if you ever get in a pinch and your hands are busy, you can tell the nurses to look there. And then I've got each med sitting right there with like the exact mils to pull up.
Same.
And I quit doing milligrams because one time I had them do milligrams and they gave me way too much because they were all frantic in the moment as well. So I've started doing the exact mils to pull up for each patient.
You know, one thing I do for my peds, and I haven't done peds in a while, but one trick I did do is I made syringes, and it was a waste of syringes. I will give you that. But I, for my peds, made up all of my emergency syringes and had the label where they would pull up to. So like I had succinylcholine,
so you made
and
it a hard stop.
I double labeled that one and set it next to the sucks. And I had an IV, which was the first label you came to. And then down below that, I had my IM, and I could tell them to draw up to the first one or to the second one.
That's so
and
smart.
I'd already done the math. Did the same with my atropine, epi.
Oh, that's so smart. And that's the thing. Again, I will reiterate, there is no pride in anesthesia. If you got to ask, double check, if you got to talk to somebody else, if you've got to, you communicate all the time and you check and you check and you check because it's people's lives on the line. So like some people may think that's a red flag or, oh, you don't know. Okay, I do know, but I'm double checking for your safety.
Absolutely.
So that's,
I actually worry much more about the people that are very proud, which actually is a prevalent issue in our field is that people are too proud to do stuff, and that's when people get hurt. I will never be too proud.
Never.
Agree. Especially for those high stress ones, which are like your peds. Swallow your pride, ask a question. There's zero reason to be like that.
I love coming to get one of y'all. I'm like, hey, another set of eyes, come on with me. Let's go do this together. And half the time it's a good time and we're talking with the patient while we're getting them sedated. And that's some of when our best stories happen.
My favorite times.
Exactly right.
Exactly.
It is my favorite time.
Want to be quiet moments, you know?
Yeah.
I've got all my holidays lined up next year. Because of my patients inviting me places when I've given them ketamine and Versed. Exactly. I don't eat meat, but I've got a barbecue to go to for the 4th of July for barbecue chicken. Christmas, I've got some homemade what was it? Tortillas
Tamales.
and tamales.
Oh, I
Mhm.
love
Going to eat.
tamales.
I remember
mean, I
that one 'cause
told-
I was like, I want to get invited to that.
I know. I told my husband, I was like, our holiday schedule's getting booked.
I'm a year out. I'm gonna need you to get in line.
What does that have to say about you that people have to be drugged to invite you?
I know. They also have to be drugged to tell me I'm beautiful.
Just kidding.
They're like, you're so beautiful. I'm like, that's the ketamine.
That's funny.
But I'll take it. I'm going to take it. I'm going to put it in my pocket and I'm going to save it for later when I'm feeling bad.
But let's make that our word of the week. Back to food. Tamales.
Tamale. I like it. Okay.
Oh, word of the week.
I like it. I like it.
I'm hungry. We've talked about chocolate chip cookies and just so many things. I'm so hungry. Always.
We'll have to put the images up and see if people see other things.
See what
We'll
we're
do
seeing.
like polls. What do you see? Do you see grapes, which are boring, or do you see a chocolate chip cookie?
Yeah. Yeah, I've never, I mean, I guess I can see where you see grapes, but chocolate chip cookie has always been very prevalent in my head.
That's what I see.
Same.
It is what I see. I can't help it.
All right. Jesus wants y'all to be quiet. Bye, y'all.
Be quiet. Backstabbers out.
Bye.